I mean, in terms of my own company, my own hiring process, I never gave a shit as to who you look like or what color you were, or what gender you were, or what sexual orientation you were.
Can you do the job?
You're here to do the job.
Willie D Live.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can go back and forth on that. Man, what are your thoughts on DEI?
On DEI, I've always been pro DEI. I've always been pro affirmative action. I remember being at UC Berkeley when Jesse Jackson was speaking at Sproul Plaza about it when they were trying to get rid of it and so forth. I feel that as a whole, there's nothing wrong with if a certain group has been in power for a certain amount of time, there's nothing wrong with letting a few people from different groups into the system, which will in turn create a domino effect in their families and in their communities.
Right.
Okay, so I went to UC Berkeley. You needed like a 4.0 grade point average and really high SAT scores to get in. So you mean to tell me that if they let a couple black kids in, they have a 3.8? They were close, but maybe not quite at that level. You don't think that that's going to actually create a level of inspiration in those families? They're like, oh, okay, Steve was able to go to Berkeley. Okay, now I'm going to do it also, and so forth. So I've always been for it. I mean, in terms of my own company, my own hiring process, I never gave a shit as to who you look like or what color you were, or what gender you were, or what sexual orientation you were.
Can you do the job?
You're here to do the job. I have gay employees, I have black employees, white employees, Spanish employees, women, men. Like, I never really gave much of a shit. But I understand that in certain organizations, it doesn't work that way. People like to hire who they know and people that look like them and people who they think they can relate to and so forth. And over time, you kind of have these situations where certain groups are left out.
Yeah. Certain groups are left out. I'm going to circle the wagon on that. Have you heard about what's going on in China in regards to education and AI?
No.
So China has mandated, Beijing has mandated that kids starting at the age of 6 use AI starting this fall.
Great.
At 6 years old, they are required to learn AI. This is going to put America back. As far as like trying to catch up to China, it ain't going to happen over the next 100 years.
Well, unless America starts to do the same thing.
They're not going to do the same thing because America is a capitalistic society and they don't care about the people. See, China cares about the people. China wants all of its people to make it. They want all of their people to win.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so
I don't think you could have a communist system that actually does that.
Well, you're in a communist.
I'm coming from a
communist system now. If you think about some of the things, some of the laws and stuff that we have to adhere to, and some of the things that our politicians do to us, and that we just allow to happen or whatever, they operate like communists already.
I mean, you could say that, but not when it's actually formalized. When you look at, this is coming from someone from a communist system. A communist system is supposed to set up a situation where the money is distributed equally to everybody. Power to the people, workers, drop your chains, et cetera, et cetera. But what has always happened over time is that everyone in the government ends up hoarding all the wealth, and the people end up getting the scraps. When you look at, I'm speaking off the cuff a little bit here, but the number of billionaires in the Chinese government is insane. It's probably the most, when you look at groups as a whole, there's probably more billionaires in that particular group than anywhere else on earth. These people are not elected. The Chinese president, there's not an open election. He is picked by the Communist Party, and he is there as long as he wants to be. In fact, Trump even commented that he has a lifetime term, right? The money all stays in that system, and there's no freedom of speech. You can't criticize the government, or else things start to happen to you. You know, like, for example, where's the owner of, or the founder of Alibaba these days? He's not running Alibaba anymore. He said a few things about the government, and they're unhappy about it. So when you have a system where you can't criticize the government or else you go to prison, there are no free elections, all the money stays within that government system. And then they go and, you know, they strategically let out a certain amount of money. I mean, you got to think, you couldn't even buy homes in China until like maybe 15 years ago. You could not own a home in China. It was owned by the government and you would rent from them. Over time, they try to do a bit of a quasi-system between capitalism and communism, but it's still a communist system. So if you think that it's all just spread out and they care about their people, they care about themselves, their families, their positions within the government, and everyone else could work it out for themselves. So let's just keep it 100.
But would you rather have, let's keep it 100, would you rather have that system where everybody works it out for themselves and you don't have the police targeting a specific group of people? Or would you rather have a system where you have this group of people versus this group of people versus this group of people and all this goddamn violence on a daily basis? Like you live in Calabasas.
Yeah.
You live in that's one of the most richest areas in the United States.
Right.
And still, and yet you got to have gates and guards and alarms and shit on your house. Mm-hmm. You got to have alarms on your car.
Yeah.
You got to have all this stuff, you know. So we trade our safety and our health for the right to just talk shit. That's what we doing.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's a big right, though.
It's a big right.
Have you been to Dubai?
Yeah, of course.
Safest place on earth, right?
Dubai?
Yeah.
Nah.
One of the safest places on earth.
It's a relatively safe place, but you can't.
Top 5% in the world?
Top 5.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Top 5% of the world. 95% of the world is more dangerous than Dubai, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can leave your wallet on a bench, no one will touch it. I remember I seen videos of women leaving Hermes bags, and they literally film it the whole day. People just walk by, nobody takes it, nobody looks inside. You know, when I was there, you know, with a woman, no one ever catcalled. You know, women and kids would walk around in the middle of the night, totally safe, right? Say some shit about the king. See what happens to you.